Hi, third grade. Miss Commended here. We are all done with our Warriors into the Wild book, so now it is time, first of all, to launch into the second book of the series. Just to give you a little sneak peek, if you're interested in continuing this series, it is phenomenal. I read it when I was in third grade, and it was one of my favorite series. So if that's something you're interested in, I would definitely check out book number 2, which is called Fire and Ice. I actually have it right here. It looks like this. Fire and Ice. And I'm going to read a quick snippet that Erin Hunter, our author, decided to include at the end of the first book, Into the Wild. So I'm going to read 2 pages from the second book to see if it's a storyline that you'd be interested in reading about, to continue our series and our adventures with Fireheart, because he now has his warrior name. Here we go. Warriors, Fire and Ice, Book 2, Sneak Peek. Orange flames lapped at the cold air, throwing sparks up into the night sky. The firelight flickered across a wasteland of ragged grass, making silhouettes of the 2 legs huddled there. At the edge of the wasteland, a cat moved, its eyes glinting in the shadows. More cats followed one by one. They carried their tails low and sniffed the air with their lips curled. "What if the 2 legs see us?" hissed one of the cats. A large Tom answered, his eyes like amber discs reflecting the firelight. "They won't. Their night sight is weak." As he padded forward, the flames lit up the black and white fur on his powerful shoulders. But the other cats crouched low against the grass, trembling. This was a strange place. The noise of the monsters battered their sensitive ear fur, and the acrid stench stung their nostrils. "Tallstar?" A gray queen flicked her tail uneasily. "Why have we come here?" The black and white Tom turned to the she-cat. "We've been driven from every place we've tried to settle, Ashfoot. Perhaps we can find some peace here," he meowed. "Peace? Here?" Ashfoot echoed in disbelief. She pulled her kit toward her and sheltered it beneath her belly. "With fire and monsters? My kids won't be safe." "But we weren't safe at home," meowed another voice. A black Tom pushed his way forward, limping heavily on a twisted paw. He held Tallstar's amber gaze. "We couldn't protect them from Shadow Clan," he spat. "Not even in our own camp." I'm going to pause right there and make a reader's guess. I'm going to infer that these cats belong to which clan? What do you think? Or do they not belong to one of the clans? But they know about Shadow Clan, and it sounds like they're driven from their camp. Let's keep reading. "But we weren't safe at home. We couldn't protect them even in our own camp." Anxious yowls rose from some of the cats as they remembered the terrible battle that had driven them from their home. The cry alerted one of the 2 legs around the fire. It stood unsteadily and stared toward the shadows. At once, the cats fell silent, crouching lower. "Keep down," hissed Tallstar. The 2-leg at the fire spat on the ground, then sat back down. The cats waited for a few moments before Tallstar stood once more. Ashfoot stood too. "Tallstar, I fear for our safety here. And what shall we eat? I can't smell any prey." "I know you're hungry," Tallstar meowed, "but we'll be safer here than back in our old territory. Look at this place. Even Shadow Clan wouldn't follow us here." "We must find a new place to settle, Ashfoot." The tortoiseshell beside her went on more gently. "Morning Flower needs to rest. Her kits will be born soon. She needs to be strong." The lean shapes of Deadfoot and One Whisker emerged from the shadows. "Tallstar," called Deadfoot, "I think I found somewhere we can shelter." "Show us," Tallstar ordered, gathering the rest of his clan with a flick of his tail. Cautiously, the cats padded across the wasteland after Deadfoot. He led them toward the raised thunderpath, the firelight making their shadows loom against its huge stone legs. A monster roared overhead and the ground shook. "Here," meowed Deadfoot, stopping beside a round hole, 2 cats high. A black tunnel sloped down into the ground. A constant stream of water trickled into it. "That's fresh water," Deadfoot added. "We'll be able to drink it." "We'll have wet paws day and night," Ashfoot complained. "At least we'll be safe from 2 legs and monsters," the black Tom told her. Tallstar stepped forward and lifted his chin. "Wind Clan has traveled long enough," he declared. So now we know it's Wind Clan. And Tallstar is the leader of Wind Clan. I remember that now from before. He declared, "It's nearly a moon since Shadow Clan drove us from our home. The weather is turning colder and Leaf Bear will be here soon. We have no choice but to stay." Ashfoot narrowed her eyes but said nothing. Silently she joined her clan as one by one they filed into the shadowy tunnel. And that's all that Erin Hunter included for the preview of Book 2, Fire and Ice. So if you are curious and exploring what happens next with Fireheart and Greystripe and Wind Clan hiding out in this tunnel where the monsters and fire are, go ahead and read Book 2 of the Warriors series. I'm going to read a little blurb so we can understand who our author is, and then we are going to jump into another vote. So here's a little information on Erin Hunter, the author of the Warriors series. Erin Hunter is inspired by a love of cats and a fascination with the ferocity of the natural world. As well as having a great respect for nature in all its forms, Erin enjoys creating rich, mythical explanations for animal behavior, shaped by her interest in astrology and standing stones. So, that is on our author of Warriors Into the Wild, and a sneak peek of Book 2, which is called Fire and Ice, if that's something that you're interested in reading more. Now we're going to jump into our vote for our next book. So here are our options for our next read aloud book. We are going to focus on the author, Kate DiCamillo, who is so fabulous. And you may recognize some of these titles. I have 3 different titles that I'm going to be doing a book talk on today. The first one is Kate DiCamillo. All of these books are going to be by Kate DiCamillo. The Miraculous Journey of Edward Tulane. You can see the cover art here. And I'm going to read the back summary so you can have an idea of what this book is about. It says, "Once in a house on Egypt Street, there lived a China rabbit named Edward Tulane. The rabbit was not very pleased with himself, for he was owned by a girl named Abilene, who treated him with the utmost care and adored him completely. And then, one day, he was lost." So it sounds like it's about a rabbit, right here, who was cared for by a girl named Abilene, who treated him so kindly, and he loved that, but then he got lost. And it sounds like he'll probably go on a journey or an adventure. So that's about a rabbit, a toy rabbit named Edward Tulane. That's option number 1. Option number 2 is Flora and Ulysses, and this is one of our voting options before, but I'll remind you what it's about. So this is a superhero tragicomedy from Kate DiCamillo, because all 3 of our options are Kate DiCamillo reads. And this story explores the adventures of Flora and Ulysses. And Flora is a natural-born cynic, which means she questions everything. She's not quite sure about how things work, and she challenges things. And Ulysses is the squirrel, and he is just kind of all over the place, you guys. And it says, "Together, Flora and Ulysses," I'll flip it so you can see them. So here's Flora, and here's Ulysses the squirrel. Okay? It says, "Together, Flora and Ulysses will conquer villains, defend the defenseless, and protect the weak," or something. And then there's a quote by Boston Globe. They reviewed this book, and they said, "The rarest of all treasures, truly inventive and appealing." And I love this book, 3rd grade. I read this one when I was studying to be a teacher, and I think it's so fun because it includes pictures as well. Here's another one with our text. So I would show you some of those pictures. And it's almost written like a comic. You can see that there's some bold text too. So there's some back and forth between the perspectives of Flora and Ulysses and their adventures together. So it's kind of a silly superhero comic with a squirrel and a girl named Flora. So this is a book that I have read before, option number 2. Option number 1 is a book that I've never read before, but I know that I love the style of writing of Kate DiCamillo, so I'm confident that this book would be wonderful as well. So this is option number 1, The Miraculous Journey of Edward Tulane. Option number 2 is Flora and Ulysses, which is more silly, goofy, comic-y. And option number 3 is a classic, The Tale of Despereaux. And I love this book. I had this book read aloud to me when I was in 2nd or 3rd grade, and I adore it. So I will read you the inside front cover. Here it is. This is the story of Despereaux Tulane, a mouse in love with music, stories, and a princess named P. It is also the story of a rat called Rascuro, who lives in darkness but covets a world filled with light. And it is the story of Miggery Sow, a slow-witted serving girl with a simple, impossible wish. These characters are about to embark on a journey that will lead them down into a horrible dungeon, up into a glittering castle, and ultimately into each other's lives. And what happens then? Reader, it is your destiny to find out. Okay, I'm going to read a little bit about our author so we have an idea about who she is. I'll present your 3 options one more time, and then I will have you vote on Class Dojo. And when you vote, your job will be to record a video of yourself, and I need you to explain your reasoning. Why did you pick that book? It's not enough just to say, Tale of Despereaux. You got to tell me why, okay? Kate DiCamillo is the author of Because of Winn-Dixie, a Newbery Honor Book, and The Tiger Rising, a National Book Award finalist. She says, my best friend's son asked me if I would write a story for him. It's about an unlikely hero, he said, one with exceptionally large ears. What happens to this hero? I asked. I don't know, he said. That's why I want you to write the story so we can find out. Well, Luke Bailey, 3 years later, here's the tale of your exceptionally eared, extremely unlikely hero. Thank you for waiting so patiently. So that was a letter from Kate DiCamillo to her son, Luke, because he asked for a story about a large-eared creature. And we can see in our cover art here that Despereaux Tulane has exceptionally large ears. Okay, so 3rd grade, your 3 options are The Miraculous Journey of Edward Tulane, which is about a little rabbit who gets lost and wants to be found. A silly story called Flora and Ulysses, about a girl and her squirrel, a superhero adventure. And number 3, The Tale of Despereaux, a story of a very brave mouse. All right, I'm excited to get your votes. I will count them up and let you know who the winner of our voting battle is for our next read aloud. Have a wonderful day. Talk to you soon.